Yo, peace everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Psycho. Yo, we building about the post-traumatic stress and slavery disorder when dealing with the Caucasians in the world today. We're talking about dealing with them on all aspects. I'm talking about, dealing with the police, dealing with the hospital or the hospice, or just dealing with going into their work environments or whichever. Hold on, wait, let me hit my little spliss here. And feel free to partake as well, because we're going to get a little deeper, because we're going to build about this cluster B personality disorder. All right. All right. So we back. First of all, get y'all asses out in nature. Get back in nature, man. I'm talking about whether you got to touch a tree, whether you got to, sit by some water, something. Because we got to supernaturally heal in this piece. Now, some of us ain't going to do it. It's just like having bad seeds. Some of them don't grow, man. Some of them not meant to. But the Most High wants all the seeds to grow. But know and understand that some of them just has to be the example for others to learn from. Because knowledge is infinite. All right, so we building about this, the police brutality. And we're going to have the Godcast coming up. And pretty much we're going to discuss just certain situations with everyone or different encounters people had with the police, seeing what kind of stories that they had and how did they get out of it, if they did, or if someone that they knew did or did not. I'm going to start now with some of mine, because my whole life, them motherfuckers been coming at me. I ain't been doing shit. So I'm just gonna say it like this, it all started off when I was young, about like 7 years old and 6-7 years old. And my first encounter with them just swooping up on me, because in school they tell you say no to dope. The dope was my era. It was real dope on the street. It wasn't just the little pills that you get from the pharmacy that these so-called doctors done said, oh, let us get in on this shit too. No, we had real dope. But anyways, though, they say that you can trust the police and all that stuff. And I kind of was weary about that shit, because in Mississippi, I ain't really seen no police till I got up north in Chicago and Minnesota and shit, So, basically, my mother, I seen, they wasn't even going to give me a ride home one day. They're like, man, you find your own way home. I was like, damn, it was a black officer with the white officer said that. But that was just nothing. That was just a little something. But that just planted the seed in my head like, oh, okay, cool. So anyhow, one time, I'm telling you, I'm 7 years old. These people I'm sitting in the front playing with people, and they were playing with other kids. And next thing you know, they rolls up 7 cars deep, and just jumps out on them like I did something. They had hands on their guns and shit. Like I'm finna do something. You know what I mean? It was crazy. So as I grew, just little things happened. I had a friend that got killed by the police. I had a friend that got shot by the police and actually survived. And I was like one of the only people that survived. And he was 15. So it goes to show you they hunt young people, young black men. And I had the guns pulled on me so many times. And we're not trying to make this stuff manifest into existence right now, but I had so many guns pulled on me by the police so many times. You know what I mean? And but they just didn't But it was just like, even during high school, and junior high, they'll just roll up on you to be the same police that you see at school. And you think that they cool, you be like, hey, and then they could just say it was young black males on a robbery or whatever. They can say whatever they want to say, knowing damn well no shit like that happened. But that's just a reason for them to draw their straps out. We never was shooting at them, But then when the gangs came into play, like the Vice Lords and the GDs and shit like that, mothers were shooting back. They was getting mad. So, that goes against our genetic, basically inheritance of etheria. What I mean by that is that, you as black people, woolly hair people, you get treated different because you're in the image of the angels, the ones who taught these beings how to walk and been through civilizations over and over again as in different worlds as the worlds grew. These beings grew off of different worlds and went into to etheria to help other mortals grow into becoming their highest self. So basically, you get scorned for that shit, especially the ones in America, because they got treated the worst. Some likely the worst. There's some in Africa too that got treated really bad too, and their own people get they kind of. But that just goes to show you the differences in the frequency of the music, or the soul, or the harmony, or just the difference in the frequency of the being. Like, niggas may not be the same. You may came out the same womb, may not even have the same frequency, but you got the same genes, but your soul is different. You see, he plays his genes differently than you play your genes, or you play the instruments. Y'all both got the same instrument though. See what I'm saying? So that don't mean that y'all both is the same composer. So basically, that also plays a role. But anyhow though, so yeah, we're gonna really get into it as far as do the call in, and I'm interested to hear some of you guys' stories about your encounters with the Cipher punks, or the beast, or the police, or whatever you want to call them. You know what I'm saying? The 12s, one time, 5-0, shit. You know what I mean? We all got names for them and shit. And but as we grew, we got really swift. We got smart. We learned that they work for the city, and they gotta have proper delegation of authority order. So that's dealing with the sheriff or the sheriff and things of that nature. But that's when we was trying to get our status back. But they got the game games changing so much that you would never win trying to do that shit. And that's when it's like, damn, I gotta find out how not to play, which is expatriate and find an area to get to. So that's pretty much it. Unless you just love their world so much, because he likes the devil, because the devil gives him nothing. See, this is why we can use everybody else's lessons prior to ours, because it's like, yo, shit, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, you can't build on anything outside of that. So this is why we break this down. We need to hear each other. We need to have we're going to have it right now on this supernatural psychology channel right here. So we're going to be building about our different encounters and what triggers them and why they like that, because this involves the cluster B personality disorder. We're not dealing with the cluster A. The cluster A is dealing with beings schizophrenia, which is like very empathic beings who got parasites in their brain that is being altered by the unseen realm, which is angelic beings who, remember, angelic beings are nothing but mortals who had already transitioned. Nothing never really dies, all right? So they learn how to manipulate matter, or the corporeal world, all right? So, but they can't have it master it. So anyways though, so yeah, we want to know, we're gonna find out and build about, in this cipher, in this, we call this the computer cipher, or this big, technological, whatever you want to call it, cyber cipher. We're gonna find out, within ourselves why we are certain ways. What triggers us, especially in relationships, when certain people ain't have fathers, or mothers was taken from them, or things that they loved. It doesn't necessarily mean that it was a person that was taken away from them. If they loved that person and it was taken away and they never seen it again, that creates an abandonment issue. And these the slave masters and all that, they knew that. So, they know how to trigger you to see if you have mastered this yet. And so when you respond in a certain way, they know you haven't mastered it, like subconsciously and also spiritually, because they're going to have beings that's over them trying to control them, so they're going to be around also. And when they're doing that, that's like, they're programmed to do it. So this is how you're going to get stronger as a spirit or a soul before you even transition, so you can graduate at a higher grade than most of these people or beings on earth. So yeah, shoot, I had another story, man. It's just a lot of stories, man. The police, especially in Minneapolis, man, shoot, they really harass you. They accidentally murder you, or they purposely murder you. They do whatever whatever it takes, to get a response out of our beings or our people, to whether it's sad or whatever, so they can feed off of it. And they found out that this works right now. And as a narcissist or a psychopathic narcissist, we haven't broken up with them yet. To really leave them alone, So we like them because they give us nothing. They make one of our people be their vice presidents. And, and it's so deep for those who really know, who doesn't look at face value and is not an 85%er. We can use that term right now, even though we know the percentages has changed and stuff. So we're not going to get super technical and get caught up in wisdom or get caught up in the physical, tangible shit like they want us to, like the little petty ass shit. You'll notice when you're dealing with the unseen, there's little petty shit that happens too. So you'll know that that's not really from the Most High. But no matter what kind of petty shit they do, it's all in the plan of the Most High anyway. So it's going to be meant for good, because good going to come and come right back around from their little petty shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's that's pretty much how that works on that note. Right? So yeah. So we're gonna be trying to we're gonna find out a lot of different things, man. You know what I mean? As far as like dealing with the young black male, people don't listen to us and don't listen to the story. I was one growing up. I came up in the 90s, so I know the effect on how the kids was coming up then. And the parents that was in at that time. And then, you know what I mean? So, and that was coming from the parents who were parents in the 90s were basically teenagers and all that shit in the 80s, or young in the 80s or whatever. So that was something else. Because if you had an example and you was trying to live off example by what your mother and father did, then that'll be, and if your mother and father didn't set the right example that you thought, because sometimes you could be on point, your intuition could be on point, but you would try to listen to them just to make them, just to be like, okay, I think this is right, and you end up going against your own intuition, and then most of the time you'll self-sabotage a lot of your blessings in your life, and we're trying to figure out why we did this right now. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're dealing with a narcissistic being who knows how to gaslight. Look that up. Project, look that up too, their insecurities onto you. This is when you're gonna see that, and this is more than just a relationship when you be mad at another individual. Like, you ain't gotta have resentment towards that individual. This is a lesson right now. Mosai got it for a lesson for you. It triggers something in you, so now you have to be able to master this in yourself. So yeah, with the Godcast. Right now, I just want you to leave some comments on a couple situations that y'all went through, because we're gonna have to let this be all the way known. They don't never really want to touch on it. And I came from a place where they did the George Floyd right on the block I came from, where they got Castillo, whatever, that brother out in St. Paul or Falcon Heights. I was right out. I know that area, man. You know what I'm saying? And even with my friend LA. You know what I mean? My boy Lawrence, he got shot in front of his daddy, man. And he lived. I was at the hospital every day. So it just goes to show you, man, what the power of love and what it takes. But we got to address these issues if y'all want to be able to elevate, especially for the chosen. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to say peace, more love. And if you haven't already, better like, comment, and also you better subscribe.